Ana's been buffed, Brigitte has been nerfed, and that's pretty much the way it goes these days on the PTR. Also, let's talk about Overwatch League fatigue, because I think this is a huge issue. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Unit Lost. I am Stylosa. So, there's been a load of buffs on the PTR. Now, I covered these, but they've actually just gone live on the PTR, so you can check them out right now. So what we've got is a buff to Ana. Her magazine size is increased from 10 to 14. This just means she can fire more shots, she can do more healing. This is good, or she can do more damage. And of course, this is all in conjunction with all the other Ana changes that are now on PTR, which I've covered in previous videos. So things like she no longer impacts allies with full health when she's firing at them, and all of that good stuff. Brigitte has been nerfed again. Now, again, I covered some of this, but now it's all live on the PTR for you guys to check out. So Rally, I think this was on the PTR at the time I covered it, but Rally maximum armor per player is reduced from 150 to 100. I think that's okay. It was a really powerful ultimate. Also, Shield Bash, the cooldown has been increased from 5 to 6 seconds. Now, again, I'm pretty sure I've covered this in a video, but it is now live on the PTR when it wasn't when I talked about it in the previous videos. So, this is huge, right? Because this means they are fixing a hero, which is quite powerful, and they're fixing the hero really quickly. We all remember the Mercy meta, and the way essentially, the reason why we had such a ridiculous Mercy meta is Mercy could instantly res targets. So if you remember, Mercy could res a target, and then she could use Valkyrie, fly straight in, insta-res targets. She was just mega strong. The ability to bring back dead people instantly meant that there was no real risk of Mercy being killed, so she could dive into the enemy's back line, res somebody, turn around and fly straight back out. That was crazy, and the fact it took 8 months for that to get fixed was also absolutely crazy. The only thing I can think of is the devs were really focusing on Overwatch League at the time. Maybe they were working on stuff that we don't actually see as players, and then that resulted in the fact that they didn't really look at the main game too much, or didn't have the time or the manpower to look at it. Anyway, eventually they fixed it, and Mercy right now is I think Mercy's in a fantastic position. She's a really strong hero. She's really good to play. There's loads of counters to her. She's just awesome. I think Mercy's in a really good place. So then we come to Brigitte, don't we? And Brigitte launches, and everybody is going crazy. Now, I've seen elements of the community go, well, she's just totally OP. This is ridiculous. It's like Mercy. It is nowhere near like Mercy or how Mercy used to be. Brigitte is very strong against the way the game is played. That's the difference, right? Which makes us stand out like, oh my god, this hero is so powerful. What you get with Brigitte is a very high amount of return for a minimal amount of input. So you don't really have to be too insanely, you don't have to play out of your mind to get good results with Brigitte. You can just get good results with Brigitte because the enemy you're playing against is probably playing heroes which get directly countered by Brigitte, which is a whole other issue. Like, I am not really that much of a fan of the fact Brigitte just shuts down heroes that have been in the game for a very long time, and she shuts them down in such a way where there is zero counterplay. I always come back to the McCree versus Tracer example. McCree is a direct counter to Tracer. However, if McCree misses his flashbang, Tracer knows that she can now start fighting the McCree, because then the McCree is at a disadvantage. That is awesome design. That is counterplay. Now, what interests me here with Shield Bash and the nerf to that is the developer's comments, where it says, her Shield Bash is a very strong ability on a fairly short cooldown, making it difficult for opponents to play around. Increasing this cooldown allows for more counterplay when playing against her. So I don't understand why they didn't realize that would have been a problem in the first place, because Brigitte is very hard to counterplay. The only way you can really easily counterplay her is attack her from range, because she can't do anything to you. But if you get near her, it's a major problem. Tracer gets near, she gets shield bashed. Winston jumps on top, he gets shield bashed, and repair pack is used on the target Winston is jumping on, or Winston gets hit away with the flail. There's a lot of things that can be done to these heroes. So I am glad that they are starting to tune Brigitte down a little bit. I still think she's a good hero, but we need to get her to a place where she's not just like, you pick this hero and you instantly win, which is not, well, you don't pick the hero and instantly win. That's not right what I said. But you pick the hero and it just instantly says, no, you now can't play Winston. No, you now can't play this hero. That's not a great place to be in. But again, we're going to have to wait and see how all of this develops. Let me know what you think about this, guys, in the comments below. Okay, next up, let's talk about Overwatch League. So, I went to London to a Spitfire Overwatch League viewing party in a cool place called the Loading Bar. Now, it was fun. It was a good time. There's loads of people there. We're all talking about Overwatch League, and it's really cool. But it got me thinking, right? There's a lot of problems with Overwatch League, and sometimes you can just gloss over these issues and think, oh, that's not that much of a problem, or that doesn't really affect me. But the question is, does it affect us? That's what I want to talk about. So, Overwatch League is, in my opinion, it produces too much content. Now, I don't really get to watch much of this content because I'm in Europe and a lot of it is on at a very bad time. This is apparently going to change going forward into the future. But the thing is, even if it was on at a good time, would I sit there and watch 4 or 5 hours of Overwatch 4 days a week? Probably not, because I don't have the time to do that. That is an insane amount of commitment. Not to mention, if you were watching Contenders when that was on, that's even more games. It's ridiculous. From all the different regions as well, like NA, EU, Korea. It's just crazy. There's so many games of Overwatch. So it kind of worries me sometimes that they're almost on the precipice of just too much saturation, too much pro Overwatch, where you just end up not really watching any Overwatch because there's too much of it. It's crazy. However, the biggest issue I've got is the fact that there's no patch parity. Now, what this means is Overwatch League runs on an old patch, a very old patch. In fact, the Overwatch League that we've just watched in Stage 4 is using the old Blizzard world, which is the Blizzard world which is not the same as the Blizzard world on live. So, again, you guys might not be aware of this, but it means that the checkpoints are in different locations. The second checkpoint is. Also, there's old Hanzo, and this is where it really was quite jarring to me watching it. I was watching the NYXL versus Boston final, and Hanzo's there, and he's got a scatter arrow, and I'm like, that's not even in the game anymore. Obviously, I understand why this is the case. It's because they want the pros to have a chance to play the game on a stable platform. It's like, look, this is the way the game's going to be for the next 4 weeks. So you can practice like maybe 2 weeks leading up into it. And then for the next 4 weeks, we know what we're doing. We can develop strategies. Problem is, there's a major disconnect here with the average player of Overwatch and the Overwatch League. You walk in to watch Overwatch League, you expect it to be the same as the game you're playing, and it simply is not. Now, I'm involved with an Overwatch League team, so I understand, there are major benefits for having a set meta for a period of time. However, I think as a viewer, it would be way more interesting if it just suddenly updated like live. Imagine how cool it would be if Brigitte was suddenly available and then teams could just use her straight away with minimal practice. You know what? You don't know what might happen. Teams might not even play her because they're like, well, actually, we don't think we've got much practice time with this hero, but some teams might be feeling crazy. Or your team starts losing and then a player on the team thinks, I'm just going to bring out Brigitte, and then it totally changes. Things like that would make it way more interesting to watch, because one of the problems I've got as well, I've got a lot of problems with it, but one of the problems I've got is watching mirror matches over and over again. It becomes quite boring. Yes, you do get to see who are the best players. You get to see that Jonak is quite clearly the best Zen, when there's always Zen in every team. So it's like, will Zen be better than this Zen? Oh yeah, that Zen is. So in a way, mirror matches can give you a little bit of insight into who is potentially the better player. But it's quite boring to watch after you've watched 50 games, and then you watch even more. And it's like, well, this is getting quite boring now. So it would be nice if it kind of shaped or switched itself up. Let me know what you think about this, guys, in the comments below. Also, as well, just to end this video, I think with Overwatch League itself, I'd be interested to see if you guys do have an active interest in it. Are you watching Overwatch League? Have you become fans of teams? And I guess I'll end the video on this. The one thing which is the biggest issue with all of Overwatch League is when you go and watch Overwatch League, then you go into competitive. It's just a totally different experience, isn't it? But hopefully that gets fixed in the future. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Stylosa and this is Unit Lost. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. I'd love to know what you guys think about the Ana and Brigitte changes, and I'd like to know what you think about Overwatch League. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Toodaloo.